Innovation, technology, and collaboration. There's broad agreement that these are the pillars of modern business. Today, we examine how collaboration can enhance the competitiveness and productivity of enterprises. Hello and welcome to ET Now. I'm Manvi Dhillon, and this is Airtel Business Presents Empowering Enterprises, powered by the Economic Times. Meet our panel today. Girish Nayak, Chief Service, Operation and Technology at ICICI Lombard General Insurance. Sunny Rao, Vice President, India and Middle East, Video. Akash Jain, Head Corporate IT and SAP, Jindal Stainless. And Arga Basu, Chief Product Officer, Airtel Business. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on the show today. One fundamental question that I'm going to put out there at the outset: business transformation. It's a stated goal for many businesses, but let's get a sense of the kind of business transformation that organizations and enterprises here in India are seeking. Is it simply, Mr. Nayak, digitizing the business? Is that transformation to most?
I think beyond digitization, you need to look at how digitization is going to help you to change and improve the business processes that exist before the digitization. Because if you just digitize the existing business processes, you will not end up removing the inefficiencies of the old, so to say, paper-based systems, that legacy systems that we've been following. So once you digitize, you also need to look at how you can change and fundamentally reframe the business process in the context of the digitization, and then you will actually see the benefit of going digital.
Okay, I'm trying to get a consensus definition of what business transformation means in the Indian context before we really focus in on collaboration and the benefits of collaboration. Mr. Basu, business transformation, a stated goal, but what does it mean?
I think business transformation is about being able to do what you're doing in a more productive manner, which means that you're able to do the same job in a shorter period of time with a better cost structure. You're able to serve your customers better, and therefore you're able to bring about growth of business in terms of revenue, in terms of scale, but with lesser amount of investments than was earlier required to make things happen.
Mr. Jain.
If you can just simplify transformation, it is all about change. How quickly you're able to change the business in terms of economic and global scenarios, right? So these days there is so much of impact on the business, and to do that you have to have your house in order. And as soon as you get to transform your business in terms of adaptation of best business practices, doing stable investments, and integrate your business processes to come up to the level of competing with the world. I think that's what transformation is.
Okay, Mr. Rao.
I think any business transformation is focused both to consumers and partners as well as internal employees. And if I had to summarize what that would mean, it would be about making it repeatable, flattening it, quickening your decision making, but also making it inclusive and transparent. And that's really what business transformation brings.
For every organization, for every enterprise, there'll be different shades and different intensities of any transformation initiative that they're pursuing. But typically, if you look at it internally, Mr. Rao, what should that list philosophically or conceptually cover?
Sure. I think for an organization, when it looks at it, at any decision-making process internally, it's about bringing transparency. Employees expect management to be transparent in their decision-making, also to be able to understand and judge and make it repeatable. That is a very important criteria. And to be able to do that and get that consensus from a team requires an intense amount of collaboration. We used to do that as humans for a long time until we started to hide behind emails and phone calls. And I think it's becoming more and more important in a rapidly changing scenario in this world that people have to come together to take decisions quickly.
Enterprise solutions are the bedrock of business transformation. How far would you agree with that assertion?
Yeah, it's true to a large extent, because without an enterprise solution which gives you a single version of the truth, you cannot have effective collaboration. Like for example, one set of numbers which everyone refers to in any kind of business meeting. But beyond that, also enterprise solutions which help in collaboration across the organization, those are required, because if you see today within the enterprise, the most effective, or I would say ineffective also, tool of collaboration is the email, because it came 20 years ago and we've still been stuck on email as the most effective tool of communication within the enterprise. In our personal lives, we all use Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, various forms of social. Yeah, that list is growing by the day, and we are quite comfortable using it. And somehow we don't seem to adopt these social technologies in the workspace, or we are reluctant to use it. I think that needs to change, and once we see that change coming in, the level of collaboration across the organization will improve dramatically.
I'm just going to stick with that phrase, single version of the truth, because I think that in a sense philosophically captures some of the goals of enterprise solutions. Mr. Basu, would you agree?
Yeah, in fact, the end objective being one, often enterprises grapple with different versions of information which get generated from different parts of the organization. Some of them are internal facing, some of them are external facing. Once collaboration becomes very active and collaboration becomes very effective, it becomes easy to have a single point from where all information, all data gets generated and gets used by the entire organization at large. And therefore, this becomes the core information base, and there is no need for reconciliation, for various other practices which keep going on, which are unproductive in some ways.
Okay, so we've spent some time really talking about business transformation, but to truly drive business transformation, I think everyone on this panel would agree that collaboration is the new buzzword. To what extent they agree, we will evaluate in a moment after this quick break. Welcome back. You're watching Airtel Business Presents Empowering Enterprises, powered by the Economic Times. Let's focus on collaboration and the power of collaboration. Mr. Nayak, and I'm going to put this to everyone on the panel. What is the power of collaboration? It's a word that's bandied around a lot, but I'm sure it means different things to each of you. What does it mean to you, Mr. Nayak?
Collaboration is having, it's like a force multiplier. You actually get the whole ecosystem to work for you and to create stuff that otherwise you would have done alone. For example, we have policies which 85% of our entire policies are actually done out of office, as we say, because none of it enters our office. It's all done by partners, agents, customers. So they enter the information, they take the policy and go away. None of my staff actually have any hand in generating that policy. They get so I actually touch only 15% of the policies that come into the organization. If I were to actually do 100% of the policies, the kind of staff that it would require and the kind of expense that I'd require is, you can imagine the size of that. So I'm actually having the ecosystem help me collaborate with me in doing my business process.
Mr. Basu, why is collaboration possible today on a scale that we've never seen before? I mean, does it just boil down to the fact that there is today technology to facilitate it? Is it as simple as that?
I think it's on two fronts. One front is where you've got technology which is enabling information flow with a barest minimum availability of network. And on the other side is the proliferation of network which is happening because of various things. Traditionally, for example, I remember about 6-7 years, maybe 8 years back, there was a project done by one of the states where they connected 13,000 villages using VSAT as a technology. And what was the purpose of connecting those villages? Because the panchayats wanted to be in touch with the districts and the districts wanted to be in touch with the state for regular interaction and understanding of what's going on, monitoring of projects, etc. Today, it's become much easier because mobility networks have expanded. Things like 3G, 4G are being made available in a large number of cities across the country, and as a result, what's happening is that network being available also means that people are able to connect, and technologies are now available to be able to work on different kinds of networks, irrespective of whether bandwidth is available, not available. One of those things which we've always grappled with, which is what is the quality of the network with which you are connecting depends, will determine the kind of experience that you will have. Technologies have actually gone to a point where they're being able to control that to a large extent.
Okay, so in a sense compensate for a weaker network,
and yet be able to give a better
deliver
experience.
The same experience. Collaboration at Jindal Stainless, and I want to draw on your own specific examples at Jindal Stainless. Has the collaboration been more inward looking, focused on internal efficiencies, focused on internal business operations and procedures and systems, or has it been outward looking?
No, I think it's more of internal, and there's a reason because why it is so. In our business, we have to be quite nimble and present a single face to the customer. And for that, for example, if you take a simple case of order fulfillment, right? There are some orders that you have to fulfill the next day or in a few days. And the process of steel making is quite complex, especially when you talk about our kind of business. So we have to be quite well integrated internally as to where an order has to be produced, what are the grades, what are the characteristics. It might be served at a totally different location, So the customers, our salesmen, our production, and our sourcing are absolutely spread out. So we have to be very well integrated inside. And it's not just integration, the identification of the key business process areas that have to be integrated, right?
Just for a moment, I want to get clarity. Integration is a word that you have used often. Now, integration becomes the base for collaboration between employees because first you integrate and now employees talking much more to each other and contributing towards processes?
Absolutely, because when you talk about transactions and key decision-making points, MIS and transactions, they play a huge role. For example, to source a material and to produce a material, the collaboration between the finance team in terms of the working capital management, where are my funds coming from which bank, it's quite important. So, like I was saying before, we need to identify the key business process area that have to be integrated, the key management points which are necessary for the management to take all the decisions on the move in front of the system to showcase and present the key information to all the stakeholders is very important.
Okay, it's interesting that we have representatives from a traditional industry like steel, stainless steel in this case, and a service industry like general insurance. And of course, there's so many new age examples where collaboration is in a sense a way of life. It's easier to talk about it in the new age companies, but it's interesting to see the strides that some of the older, more conventional industries have also taken. Ms. Rao, just give us some examples of the kind of collaboration that is now possible internally, that is actually happening internally, the realities.
Yeah, I think, we are in such a connected world that every industry and educational institution is transforming itself. Take the example of research, and that's what powers creativity and innovation. Today, researchers from around the world come together and collaborate and work collaboratively to produce breakthrough innovations. And they're doing that. We have many research institutes around the world who have researchers from across 120 companies that collaborate together. And that's phenomenal. And that's just an example of how research is being done to find the God particle, as an example. When you look at it, they have scientists, 4,000 scientists from 120 companies that collaborate today, face to face. And that's an enormous example. You look at healthcare, you look at education. You know, I have an example in Saudi Arabia, for example, where they're transforming education by bringing access to all the population and the students from professors from around the world.
And that is an example of collaboration as well. I want to widen the scope, Mr. Basu, and throw in some more, examples that you would have come across. And again, I'm focusing still internally. Changes that are taking place within organizations where employees are communicating more effectively with each other and, in a sense, working more effectively towards a common goal. And the byproducts are things like lower costs, optimal operations. I could go on.
Yeah, I think one of the things which happened, I think about 2-3 years back was, when different kinds of technology platforms decided to collaborate with each other, what it led to was a huge amount of protection of existing investments that organizations had made in terms of various kinds of systems that they used for the purpose of, let's say, video conferencing. If there was one company who had bought it from XYZ OEM, now they would be able to retain those and yet buy new stuff from other OEMs and be able to use them together. Mm-hmm. So collaboration between platforms was something which was not there, and it started happening. The next thing which happened was collaboration between network providers. So network providers started collaborating between themselves to exchange traffic, which would then seamlessly be able to make an organization and their customers' organization be able to interact with each other seamlessly. And the third thing that happened was collaboration of devices. So, if there was a smart device which was available, that smart device was now able to talk to a video conferencing room which may have been existing in that organization for the past 10 years. So collaboration of platforms, collaboration of networks, and collaboration of devices led to expansion of the collaborative platform across the organization. So you kind of suddenly started including almost everybody, and it was not left only to those glass rooms in which video conferencing equipment used to stay.
Collaboration to drive competitive advantage, to optimize operations, to minimize costs. We've touched upon some of that. When we come back after this quick break, we're going to look at the creases that still need to be ironed out at an enterprise level so that collaboration can harness all of the benefits that it promises. We're back in a moment. Welcome back to ET Now. You're watching Airtel Business Presents Empowering Enterprises, powered by the Economic Times. I'm going to pause for a moment and ask each of you to share with us an example of a leap of faith which fits into the collaboration bucket that is soon going to be underway at your organization, because I want to leave on a note of reality, in a sense. So I want you to think about something that typifies collaboration at a level that you have never undertaken before, and in a sense is riding on perhaps technologies that are around the corner. Does anything come to your minds? If that answer is not suitable, then pick from something that is imminent in your organization.
I think something that we did recently in terms of collaboration, I would say, was supply chain. It was a huge challenge. In fact, we were the first company in India, and at least in the stainless steel industry, to go for an entire end-to-end supply chain integration. It was hugely challenging. The solution was not there. There was a lot of customizations that we had to do. But yeah, in a way, we were the first in India to achieve that. And
what's next?
What's next? Oh, okay. To extend that supply chain to my customers and vendors. I think that's next.
And that's going to be tougher, you reckon?
It will not be tough, but I think to identify the key mutual benefit points, that is, I think that's the first step. You need to actually identify, okay, this is what I want to achieve. And then, like we heard, that there are platforms available that can talk to each other faster. I think that will be the second key, because there, we have experienced a time lag in terms of doing the integration. The platforms are different. It takes time. There are kind of breakdowns, and you don't achieve the MIS that you want to showcase to the management, both in terms of customers, vendors, or internally.
Okay, but you want to keep your eye on the ball, as you said,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is the
absolutely.
mutual benefit points.
Absolutely.
Don't lose sight of the mutual benefit points
That's
as
the
you
key. That's
as
the
you
key.
push any of these initiatives. Mr. Naik?
Well, I would give a very recent example of collaboration, what is commonly called co-creation. We had to work on an entirely new website, and we could have done it traditional way, is someone writing out a business requirement that would take a couple of months to write, then give it to IT, then IT would develop it. So by the time it sees the light of day, it would have taken at least 6 to 9 months easily, and it would be traditional. We took a completely different approach. We went to an agency which could run a hackathon for us, which essentially get 6 or 7 groups of people. We went anonymously. We told them just our requirements as to what we wanted. Over 2 weekends, they developed something. It was a contest, so they were actually bidding for a prize. So we picked the top 2 we wanted. One did a very good job on the web. One did a very good job on the mobile. We asked them to develop the whole thing. Got it developed in 2 months flat, and we're ready to launch it right now. And that's and all this was again. We used the workspace was our cloud platform, and all the presentations were done through Skype, so we didn't see each other. so as far
Compelling example. Mr. Rao?
In our new office, one of the things that we've done is we don't really have any telephones. Everyone has a PC. There's one telephone on the floor somewhere just for emergency services, but otherwise everyone communicates over video instantaneously over any device, and that's throughout the world now.
And you're echoing what Mr. Basu had mentioned, which is, the power of being able to see and communicate face to face. So, Mr. Basu, anything that comes to your mind in the context of collaboration, cutting edge?
I think one of the things that was really transformational for us was when we were able to see very large technology companies coming together, and there was this huge consortium which was built, which had some of the largest network providers around the world, the likes of AT&T, Verizon, BT, Orange, Business Services, Airtel was the one from India. They all came together to decide that they're going to collaborate with each other to seamlessly allow video communication across the entire world, and they connected their networks only for the purpose of video communication. And on that same consortium, we saw traditional competitors like Cisco, Polycom, Microsoft, Huawei coming together and said that we're going to allow our platforms to talk to each other, so that irrespective of who's using what, video communication still goes on. That was, I think, the most powerful collaboration that I saw in the recent times.
Clearly, your example suggests that technology and collaboration and innovation are not just redefining businesses, they're redefining the rules of business as well. Gentlemen, thank you very much for sharing your insights with us today on Airtel Business Presents Empowering Enterprises, powered by the Economic Times. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you very much.